Hello friends, it's your old buddy McVader here. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've been pretty inactive these past few weeks, but that's because July has been packed to the brim with good comic book movies. Not only did we get our first ever good Fantastic Four movie, which led to me making this video, but we also got a pretty good Superman movie. I truly can't remember the last time the comic book movie fandom got to eat this good in a single month, so it's safe to say that I'm pretty happy with what we got. Now, I noticed that I didn't make a Superman-related video, and honestly, so far, this channel is looking pretty Marvel-pilled. So I think we need to spice things up today. We're going to dive into the world of DC Comics, and quite frankly, I don't know a better way to make my first DC-related video than by making it about the greatest superhero of all time. That's right. Today, we're talking about James Gunn's Superman. No, we are not. I'm sorry, but we are not talking about the Superman movie. The last time I made a video essay about a movie, it got blocked into near oblivion. So we can't do videos about movies for the foreseeable future. I'm sorry, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. So what the hell are we going to talk about today? Superman and Fantastic Four are all the rage right now. And I can't just make another Marvel-related video, it's getting really repetitive. We need something DC to talk about, and not just anything, it has to be something good. Something that will knock people's socks off. Wait a minute, I think I got something. This looks pretty interesting. Absolute Batman. Kind of a strange title, but I think we can work with this. Why is Batman so thick? I want to take a minute to talk about Batman. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's a pretty niche property, but I think he's underrated, so I'd like to dive into this guy's history real quick. Created in 1939 by Bill Finger and Bob Kane, Bruce Wayne debuted in Detective Comics number 27, and very quickly went on to become one of the most iconic figures in all of pop culture. I don't think there's a single person in the world who doesn't like Batman, and if you think you're one of those people, then I'm going to be real with you, you're probably lying to yourself. If there's a superhero out there that you like, chances are you like Batman too. He's one of the tentpoles in the world of comic books. Every superhero that has ever existed has likely been inspired by him in some form or fashion. Cheese. Now, usually I like to give a brief rundown of the origin of whatever characters I'm dedicating a video to, but Batman is so well known that I don't really feel the need to. However, for those of you who somehow don't know Batman's origin, please draw your attention to this very detailed illustration. It's a very simple story when you get down to the brass tacks. This origin would go on to be retold over and over again for nearly a century, presented in some of what people consider to be the greatest comics ever produced. If you track down a list of the best comics of all time, I can tell you right now that they will mostly consist of Batman books. Batman is a character that every writer dreams of getting to tell stories about. So it makes sense that some of the greatest comic book writers in the industry have gotten the opportunity to take a crack at him. This includes Alan Moore, creator of Watchmen, Frank Miller, Grant Morrison, Neil Adams, Marv Wolfman, Ed Brubaker, Chuck Dixon, Steve Englehart, Denny O'Neil. The list goes on and on. However, over the past 15 years, comic fans have noticed a new name being added to that endless list of great Batman writers. That being the one and only Scott Snyder. Snyder was the man behind Batman's rebirth when DC launched their New 52 initiative, which planned on rebooting their universe, allowing for fresh writers to come up with new stories without the weight of continuity affecting their creative visions. Scott Snyder was chosen to kick off Batman for the New 52, which led to the Court of Owls saga that would go on to inspire several story opportunities for the character and engage new readers, preparing them for the epic journey that was Scott Snyder's Batman run. There's a lot of love when it comes to Snyder's work on Batman. I myself have always been a fan of his Death of the Family story arc, which involved the Joker cutting his own face off and raining terror upon the Bat family. And yes, I did gloss over the fact that Joker cut his face off because you will come to learn that throughout this video that Scott Snyder's writing can be genuinely pants-shittingly terrifying. This right here? This is child's play compared to some of the shit we'll see later down the line. Snyder made a habit of creating pieces of Batman lore that would go on to become iconic pieces of comic book history. Not just creating the supervillain society, the Court of Owls, but also creating the menacing Batman who laughs, who for those of you who don't know is just Batman and Joker combined into one psychotic super being. Because this is DC Comics, take your sensitive ass back to Marvel. Snyder's run on Batman was consistently filled with quality storytelling and defined the character for a new generation. So imagine people's surprise when last year DC said, hey, what if we did that again? That's right, DC decided to reboot once again, spawning the new Absolute Universe, which would run alongside current DC continuity, allowing readers a variety of comics to choose from. If you want regular Batman comics, then no need to worry because they're still going strong. But if you want a fresh take on the Batman mythos, written by one of the most acclaimed writers currently working at DC, then feel free to pick up Absolute Batman by Scott Snyder. Batman is a character who has had his origin retold multiple different times over his near century-long existence, but somehow, Snyder found a way to tell one of the most unique Batman stories to date, while still keeping a sense of familiarity to the character we all know and love. So imagine our surprise when the concept for Absolute Batman was revealed and we saw this image for the first time. Right off the bat, pun absolutely intended. We have so much to unpack here. First of all, Brucey has been eating his Wheaties, because holy shit, this man makes Dark Knight Returns Batman look like a total chump. Also, what's with these weird batwing tendrils he has on his arms? Is he gonna be walking on all fours or something? And to cap it all off, what the is up with this logo, dude? Everything's bigger in the Absolute universe for some reason. Why does it look like that? I can't imagine it will have anything to do with the overall story and won't have any payoff whatsoever. So we might as well just drop it. Let's move on. Despite how different everything looks, I can't deny how interesting it all feels. This single image sparked so much attention online. It was enough to ensure longtime fans as well as newcomers that we were in for one hell of a ride. So when Absolute Batman #1 finally released in October of 2024, written by Scott Snyder and illustrated by Nick Dragotta, holy f***, dude. This is some of the best content DC has put out in a long time, and as of right now, there are no more than 10 issues available. And so far, the story has been keeping fans engaged, so I figured I should dedicate this video to pitching Absolute Batman to those of you who have yet to give it a chance. I'm not gonna waste any more time, let's just jump into issue 1. Spoilers from here on out. I'm serious, you don't want to miss out on what Scott Snyder's been cooking. Last chance to leave. Okay, let's go. So we open on a mass shooting in the middle of Gotham Zoo. Jesus Christ, oh my god. We then cut to what appears to be several years later, where we follow a man on a motorcycle as he drives through the grim, dangerous city of Gotham. For those of you who may know a thing or two about the Batman lore, this scene may feel eerily similar to moments from Batman Year 1, where Bruce returns to Gotham as he narrates his feelings toward the city. So one could only assume that the man we're following must be Bruce. I mean, just listen to this narration.
Hello again, Gotham. It's been a long time. So, who are you these days? Who have you become while I was gone? You're prettier, I'll give you that. Taller, brighter. But deep down, something's changed. My third lap around and I still can't find it. Where is your heart? You used to have a center, hot and beating. But something's hollowed you out. In fact, I barely recognize you anymore. I'm not sure I like this new you, Gotham, but that's okay. I don't think you're gonna like me much either. My name is Alfred Pennyworth.
Wait, what the f***? Yeah, that's right. This mysterious biker who's returned to Gotham after a several-year hiatus isn't Batman, like we all would assume, but it's his butler. Or is he? We are only 3 pages into this book, and we already have one of the most significant changes that this new Absolute universe has very boldly decided to present to us. Alfred is James Bond now, and he has been assigned to return to Gotham in hopes of surveilling a new gang of killers known as the Party Animals. However, he's warned that there may be a third party who's also interested in the gang. Then he gets aired by his estranged daughter and he gets his bike stolen. We then cut to a gym where a man who appears to be Bruce Wayne is busy hitting the heavy bag alongside some more narration.
Tonight, this is your city. No fear. No weakness. Tonight, you are I think it's my turn.
Damn, boy, he's thick, boy!
This book really boldly chose to fake out the reader into thinking you were following Bruce twice in less than 10 pages. Look at him! He's fucking absurdly huge! Apparently, Absolute Bruce Wayne is 6'9" and 421 pounds. How the f is that even possible, dude? He shouldn't be out being Batman, he should be out hooping with LeBron. Imagine if emo Robert Pattinson trained like Mr. Incredible and you would have Absolute Batman. He's so big and scary that his best friend, Killer Croc, is left jaw-dropped after he breaks the heavy bag. Wait, hold on. Killer Croc? What? That's right, Waylon Jones is one of Bruce's childhood friends. We then find out that Bruce was actually childhood friends with characters whose names we recognize from Batman's Rogues Gallery, such as Waylon Jones, Harvey Dent, Edward Nygma, Oswald Cobblepot, and Selina Kyle. I love how nearly every page turn of just the first issue presents us with some of the most interesting reimaginings of Batman's mythos. The world building is already off to an excellent start, and we're not even halfway through the book. Meanwhile, on a yacht, Carmine Falcone and Salvatore Maroni meet with the head of the vicious party animal gang, who is revealed to be Roman Sionis, aka the Black Mask. For those of you unaware, in the main DC continuity, Black Mask is one of the several ruthless mob bosses running Gotham's criminal underworld. He was a villain well known for his love of brutality and torture, striking fear into the hearts of his enemies. In the Absolute universe, that's still his present character trait, but it feels as if it's been cranked up to the extreme. The Black Mask is downright genocidal in nature, pleasuring off the act of murdering innocent men, women, and children left and right. And it's not just him taking part in these sadistic acts, but also an army of ruthless killers just like him. It appears that Scott Snyder simply dared to ask the question, hey, what if there were hundreds of Black Masks? To be honest, I'm shitting in my pants just thinking about it. Roman orders the murder of Falcone and Maroni, stealing their spots as the head of the criminal underworld. Right off the bat, two important members of the Batman mythos have been taken off the board, and we're left with something more terrifying than we've ever seen before. Later on, Jim Gordon speaks at a press conference at Gotham's Town Hall, where it's revealed that he is actually mayor of Gotham. I personally think that this is a really fun change. Jim has always been written to be arguably the most honorable citizen in a city filled with injustice. If anyone is capable of running a city as shitty as Gotham, it's him without a doubt. Maybe things are finally looking up for Gotham City. Wait a second. If Jim is mayor, then who's taking up the role of police commissioner? Oh god, Harvey Bullock? Oh, never mind, y'all. Gotham's dude. During Gordon's speech, the party animals attack and threaten to kill everyone in attendance. Gordon's daughter Barbara, who in the main DC continuity becomes Batgirl, rushes to the aid of her father, who in this universe is a police officer for the GCPD. Meanwhile, outside, Alfred watches from afar as the party animals wreak havoc, while being ordered not to interfere. Luckily, someone else is doing that for him.
Pennyworth, report. Casualty count?
None. The other player just arrived.
If he disrupts intel gathering, you are to engage. Pennyworth?
Copy. What happened, dude? Up there! Shred him!
And finally, we meet the absolute Batman as he tears through the party animals with ease, showing off his new arsenal of weaponry and various forms of combat. With what appears to be little to no effort, he lays waste to anyone who steps up to face him. This Batman is far more brutal than any incarnation we've seen before, but makes sure he doesn't strike any blows that fatally injure his enemies.
This hand has killed more people than you can count. Now I'm going to give you one chance. Get the f*** out of our way.
I hear they can reattach them sometimes. There's a hospital 3 blocks south of here. Or is it east? I can't seem to remember all of a sudden. But I'd run. The rest of you, I'm going to give you one chance to get the fuck out of my way!
Holy fucking shit. Immediately upon seeing this, Alfred intervenes and tries to apprehend Batman, but that blows up right in his face as Batman kicks him into near oblivion and steals his weapon. The sheer amount of power that's displayed in these few pages is unlike anything I've seen in a Batman comic before. This is far different from the character we met in Batman Year One, who during one of his first missions out managed to nearly get beaten to a pulp by just a couple of low-level gangsters. This is a walking weapon of mass destruction who isn't here to play with his food. He's here to make a point, leave an impact, and get the hell out, forcing the memory of him to stay glued to their minds forever. This Batman is an absolute unit. Side note, I love that despite how edgy and brutal this version of Batman is, he still wears trunks on the outside of his pants. I think that's kinda cute. Naturally, after meeting the Dark Knight for the first time, Alfred decides to do some digging, and manages to put together Batman's identity and backstory piece by piece. When he was a boy, his father, Thomas, was murdered in a shooting at Gotham Zoo, where he found a fascination for bats. He was considered a genius in his schooling and a masterful engineer, But after the murder of his father, he chose to devote the rest of his life to delivering justice to the evil that rots within his city. He grew up in Crime Alley with his mother Martha, who is still alive today with a job as a social worker, but he spends most of his time learning everything he can to assist in his war against evil. Alfred concludes that Bruce is an impressive man, but he's dealt with many like him in the past. Before he can assassinate Bruce, he's interrupted by Martha Wayne and realizes that Bruce is a man trying to protect his city, just like himself. In Alfred's own words, he's just a fucking kid. Alfred tracks Bruce down to one of his many hideouts hidden within the top floors of Gotham's tallest skyscrapers where nobody would even think to find him. He's practically hiding in plain sight. He knows his city better than anyone else, so he's using that knowledge to his advantage. However, his routine is broken when Alfred appears. But Bruce is ready for anything. He uses Alfred's weapon against him, reveals that he was the one who stole Alfred's motorcycle in the beginning of the book, proving that he's always been one step ahead, and he drives out the window, free falling down into the streets of Gotham. He spreads his wings, and just like that, the book ends with a splash page of our absolute Batman, dominating the night once again. Then the Joker makes a quick cameo, and that's the end of issue 1. But something seems to be off about this version of Joker. Even though we barely get to see him, what we learn about him is enough to catch our attention. This version of the Joker is a rich philanthropist who never laughs. Nobody knows his real name, and what we see of his face looks as if a terrifying evil lurks just beneath the surface. What this means is that we now have a Joker who has all the money and power in the world facing off against a Batman who has lived in poverty his whole life. What this tells us is that Batman and Joker have practically switched roles in this new absolute universe. It's such a simple idea, but it's more than enough to keep me reading. And clearly I'm not the only one, because the Absolute Batman books have been the #1 selling comic for 10 issues straight. But here's the thing, I've only read 4 so far. I'm sure you guys may be asking, McVader, brother, why are you pitching us a comic that you aren't even up to date with? Well, there's a very simple answer to that question, and that is I can't buy the rest of them. I'm not kidding. No matter where I go, every single comic book store that I have at my disposal is constantly sold out of Absolute Batman. I can never seem to get to the damn store in time before fans manage to get their crummy hands on the newest issue first. It's so aggravating, but there's an upside to this. That upside being that people are reading comic books. People are buying comic books. Comic books are cool again, and people are finally starting to realize that. Even people I know who aren't fans of comic books have heard of Absolute Batman, and they're just as fascinated with the concept as we are. And I haven't even talked about the art yet. Nick Dragotta was absolutely the perfect choice to illustrate this new era of Batman. It's drawn with a very cinematic quality that not a lot of comics have. It's easy to see how much of an inspiration Matt Reeves' The Batman was in terms of the vibe that Snyder and Dragotta were going for. His art has a beautiful sense of energy, scale, and emotion. Dragotta has stated before that he takes a lot of inspiration from various manga artists, and once you come to that realization, you can't really unsee it. The black and white noir edition of this book, which I highly recommend reading, feels like you're reading a manga. As someone who is a big fan of the manga art style, I absolutely dig this new take on that specific style, especially for characters like Batman. For manga fans out there, Absolute Batman is like if Batman and Berserk had a baby. I may not be able to tell you my thoughts on the more recent issues of Absolute Batman, but hopefully the fact that it's a consistent best-selling book every month, and the fact that you can't even get your hands on the books when they come out, tells you that this is some high-quality material that you should be looking forward to reading. Luckily, at the time I'm writing this, DC just released the first trade paperback volume of Absolute Batman, which consists of the first 6 issues. So my pitch to you guys is if this video has piqued your interest at all, then I suggest that you get online or rush to your local comic book store and pick up the first volume of Absolute Batman. Do yourself a favor and tag along on the joyride that this series is taking us on. This series is the beginning of a new era in the world of comic books. And if you've been yearning for a good starting point for Batman comics, then I promise you that this is the perfect opportunity. Don't miss out on this. Absolute Batman is absolutely excellent.
Hello everybody. I know it's been a while. Sorry for talking so quietly. People in this house are attempting to sleep, but I thought I should jump on here real quick just to update you guys a little bit, because for those of you that haven't noticed, within the past week, this channel has managed to gain
over 1,000 subscribers. Where did you people come from?
Who are you people?
Apparently, people really liked the Ghost Rider video, which is crazy because like halfway through making that video, I thought I was wasting my time. I thought I was making a mistake. I almost just didn't finish the video. But then, you know, obviously, of course, I remembered that the whole reason for me doing this channel was to express myself creatively and not to appeal to a certain audience. So, of course, I finished the video, and thankfully so, because it's gotten almost 50,000 views. I haven't checked it in a while, but last time I checked it was in the 40s. That is genuinely insane. It's so overwhelming how supportive and helpful you guys have been ever since that video came out. I do read all the comments. I've read every single one that's been posted up to this point, and you guys have been nothing but supportive and helpful. Your feedback has been very greatly appreciated, and I am definitely taking it all into account for, you know, future projects and stuff like that. But yeah, I really just wanted to get on here and express my endless amount of thanks for all the support you guys have shown me and this channel. I feel great right now, very happy, and it's all thanks to you guys. So I know this is one of my shorter videos, so I apologize for that. Work and the life-related stuff has just managed to get in the way of this one, so that explains why it's been a while since the last video. Hopefully I'll get the next one out in a shorter amount of time, but I never want to have to sacrifice a video's quality for quantity. So, you know, I'll take as much time as I need to, but I obviously like don't want to keep you guys waiting, of course, but you get what I mean. Also, the audio in this video probably sounded very crappy. That's because I recorded this video in my car because I was really busy and I just really needed to get it out of the way. But next time, hopefully the audio will be back to normal. I want to thank my buddy Joe again for coming back and voicing the Black Mask Party Animal Thug in this video. He also voiced the person that speaks to Alfred, so much appreciated to him for that. I'm very proud of this video, despite how short and underwhelming it might seem. I really love this absolute Batman series, and if it inspires any of you out there to go out and pick up the book for yourself, then I will have done my job. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I want to read some comments, because you guys have left me some very helpful and insightful comments on the Ghost Rider video. So before I leave, I just want to show some appreciation for you guys, and just check out what you guys have been saying, maybe answer some questions, some things like that. So here, let's get started on that. Jerunk12598 says, "No offense, but are those your real eyebrows?" Unfortunately, yeah, they are my real eyebrows. The Animartist 2299, I think I said that right, says, "Bro's got them Pythagorean theorem eyebrows."